if I gave it all away.
Welcome back, everyone. We're having fun today on the show. Some cool stuff. I got a newbie with me right now, and we are live on Facebook, so I want to say hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We're going to be sharing the show afterwards. I have with me Mike Salazar. Mike, you're the owner of Pass Fire Protection. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you guys do.
Well, Carol, we like to get engaged with the public a lot and try to help them in preventing fires in buildings. You know, we want to protect
That's
life
a very
and property.
good thing to help people not do.
Yes.
So you go to businesses, right, and you do training.
Yes.
What do you do when you get there?
So a lot of times we get there and we're just trying to gather our sights, our wits about us. If we haven't been there before, we have to get familiar with the facility. But we're there to try to make sure that the equipment that they have in the building is working properly or is maintained properly, and it's going to function whenever something may or may not occur. We hope that nothing ever occurs, but if it does, we want to make sure everything's working at that time.
So before you came on, we were talking, and you said that you basically work with commercial people.
Yes.
Right? But you also said that you work with, that you're statewide.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And when you go into somebody's facility and you do one of these training, they're a 2-hour training. They're not a shorter training. So what are you there for? Would they hire you to come in and do this? What are you there for to do?
So typically what people will hire us to do is, we call it training, but we're also inspecting the facility. We're making sure that everything is working properly, from fire extinguishers to fire sprinklers, fire alarm systems. We do kitchen hood systems. You know, we work with a lot of food truck companies or food truck people themselves. But we're there to train them on what the equipment does, how they can use it if it's not working properly, how they can use it if something happens in an emergency, and they're going to be able to manage that right away before they give us a call or somebody else a call. But we're there to also inspect it and make sure it's going to work, and that if it's needed.
The worst thing is something that doesn't work when a fire happens, right?
Absolutely.
And it happens a lot, huh?
There are more fires than people want to admit, and these systems typically work without anybody's involvement. That's why it's important to make sure that they do work.
That's
because
correct.
Somebody's not going to be there to operate them.
What does PASS, P-A-S-S, stand for?
Well, we use it, and our name is it's a play on words, but PASS originally comes from pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep, and that's how you train people to use fire extinguishers. And believe it or not, many people know about fire extinguishers. They see the fire extinguishers, but they don't even know how to use them. And it's one of the most simplest things that we do, but it's also one of the most difficult things for them to operate. They don't realize how heavy it is. They struggle pulling the pin. They're frantic. You know, when they're trying to use a fire extinguisher, it's not because they want to, it's because they need to. And
right.
So if they don't know how to do it and they're not prepared for it, it kind of startles them, and, maybe it doesn't get used. But hopefully, sprinkler systems will kick in or something else is there, while they're waiting for the fire department to show up.
Right. Now, it's pull, aim, squeeze, and what was the last one?
Sweep.
Sweep. What's the sweep for? Sweep it up?
Yeah, right.
Clean it up?
Yeah, there's a big mess afterwards, but sweep's just sweeping the hose back and forth at the base of the fire.
Sweeping it meaning how you're aiming it.
Yes.
Is that correct?
So we're going to pull the pull pin. We're going to squeeze the hand. We're going to aim, the nozzle at the base of the fire. We're going to squeeze the handle, and then we're going to sweep it back and forth to extinguish
make sure you
the fire.
get the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Now, your website is passfireprotection.com. You're rated with the Better Business Bureau. You're statewide. They can call you at 602-833-9117. And we've got our lines open here because you do these free consultations. But, you are going to offer them something. And this is a 2-hour free fire extinguisher training class that also includes getting a fire extinguisher.
Yes.
Tell them what that is.
So what we do is we'll come to your facility and we will train you on the difficulties of using a fire extinguisher. We'll bring different fire extinguishers that you may have in your facility so that you can see them, recognize them, understand what they're used for, and then get hands-on, because there's nothing like using something and being able to use it or try it before you have to use it. A lot of people like I said, don't use it. So when they need it, they don't understand, or they're panicking, they don't use it properly. And we want to educate the public. We want to make sure that they're going to be able to use these things because it's going to save a lot of damage to the buildings. It's going to save lives. If that fire doesn't flare up, there's not going to be anybody getting hurt. So if you could put it out with an extinguisher, you're going to save a lot of time, money, energy, and it's all about knowing how to use it properly. So we like to train people on that. And like you said, we would love to come to your facility and train you on that, and we'll actually bring you a fire extinguisher at the same time.
Yeah, it seems a long time for a fire extinguisher class. I'll get it out. Why is it that long? What is it that there must be a lot to learn about it?
Well, we kind of go in depth on some stuff, not just the basics of how to use it, but we talk about, what is a fire, what causes fires, what's the best way to extinguish some of the fires, the different types of stuff. We also go into some of the maintenance of the extinguishers, how often should you be checking them? What should you be looking for? When should somebody else come in and inspect them? And so we go through all that, and it just takes a while because people usually have questions, and you don't want to just tell them what you know and then leave. You want to be able to get them engaged, because the more somebody's engaged, the more they're going to remember that experience. And then hopefully whenever they need it, they'll be able to use it.
They are statewide. You could check them out on their website. It's passfireprotection.com. And they're rated with the Better Business Bureau. They do free consultations. Their phone number direct at 602-833-9117. Also, we've got our lines open here for everyone to get entered into win. It's a fire extinguisher class. It's a 2-hour training, and you're going to get a fire extinguisher, too. I told them I want one, too. They should have one here. The number here is 602-277-5369, and toll-free it's 1-866-536-1100. So it's very important to have fire protection classes.
Yes, absolutely. Especially if you have the equipment in your facility, you want to know how to maintain it, what's required. Also, you want to know how to handle it in a case of emergency. If, say, a fire sprinkler does accidentally go off because somebody hit it or damaged it, you want to know how to shut that water down to prevent flooding. You want to know who to contact. And
so let's say someone's listening and they go, well, I have a fire extinguisher. I don't need one. But they've had one for a long time. How long does a fire extinguisher actually last? I mean, you said sometimes that it doesn't work when they go to use it.
Yes, absolutely. If they're not properly maintained, their extinguishers they're going to last for a while, but typically every 6 years they have to go through a maintenance, just like your cars have to get oil changed.
Did you know that? I didn't know that. That's something nowhere but on Networking Arizona would you know that a fire extinguisher has a life of 6 years.
Yes, and then that's the ABC. That's the most common red ones that you see. There's other fire extinguishers out there that are more frequent. There's 5-year intervals, but you want to make sure that those are being looked at those intervals, because that powder that's inside that extinguisher, if it's not being looked at, there's a chance, just like baking soda in your refrigerator, it's going to get hard, and you go to use that extinguisher, it's not going to use anything. Nothing's going to come out, or that maybe it's not in the proper range, and so it doesn't have the nitrogen to expel that agent out.
Right.
So there's many things you got to look at. You want to make sure the hose is there. You want to make sure everything is intact, so that if you go and grab it, it's going to be there to be used. It's
better to be prepared.
Yes.
When something like that happens, and you're nervous, something like that, you're scared, and when you go to pull a thing, it doesn't come out. It's like that always would happen to me or anybody else. Now you work with commercial, but also you said you work a lot with food trucks as well.
Yes, absolutely. We do a lot of services for food trucks. They have extinguishers, but they also have these hood systems because they fry foods. They cook foods, and so a lot of people know them as the Ansel system, but Ansel's kind of like a crescent wrench or channel locks. It's just a brand name that everybody knows, so we'll say Ansel, but it's actually just a suppression system that if those grease fires get out of hand, or if the temperatures get too hot, that again, it's another system that doesn't require you. It's going to extinguish that fire, and it's going to allow you to get outside of that truck. It's going to protect all the people in line trying to buy your food. You'll be out of business for just a little bit, but it's better than, the catastrophe that could happen if you didn't have that.
Absolutely. Better be safe than sorry.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
We've got our lines open here for everyone to get entered into win their business, whether you have a commercial or a food truck. If you have someone or know someone, our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Everyone's getting entered into win. This is a 2 2-hour fire extinguisher training class, and it includes getting an extinguisher, which is kind of cool. You might need a new one. You never know. Again, that number to call here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. Check them out. It's passfireprotection.com.
If I traded it all, if I gave it
Welcome back, everyone. We are talking with Mike Salazar, and he is the owner of Pass Fire Protection. And we were talking at the break. I mean, there are different kinds of fires. I would love to understand what they are, and it's very cool. If you own a business and to know what could happen and the different types of fires that could happen and how to react to them, that's what you teach. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely. Most companies are going to be instructed by their insurance carriers. Depends on what kind of company you are and how involved the insurances are. But sometimes a lot of people get ignored, and so it's important to know what is in your building, what's going on, and how to prevent it with some of the fire systems that are out there, whether it's a fire sprinkler system, a fire alarm system, fire extinguishers, like I said, or other suppression systems. There's a lot out there, and so to understand what could happen and how to prevent that from happening could save your business lost time, lost revenue.
There's a lot of people that have businesses that are, maybe they're in a facility that doesn't have those things in place. There's a lot of people that even are having their in-home business. I know you don't do residential, but I know people that run some stuff that they're going to get a fire for sure, and something can happen, and they would know the first thing to do, and they don't have a sprinkler system.
Oh, absolutely. When we're at home, we're the king of our homes, and we think we know what's best, but that's where most things happen. We don't store our paints or flammables right. We don't have extinguishers. We'll stand on ladders incorrectly. We won't wear safety glasses. But when we go to work, we do all those things. But when we go home, we forget all about it, and that's where most of the injuries happen. There's a lot of fires that happen.
Right. And there are a lot that happen at work, too, because there's a lot of people that I think that they are, more than anything, careless.
Oh, absolutely. Take fire alarm, for instance. How many people ignore that? When it's going off, you should be getting out of the building, but everybody's like, what is it? It's so loud. Why is it going off? Can't you stop it? And it's like, you should be leaving the building because there may be a fire. If you wait until you see smoke, or if you wait until you see the flames, it's going to be too late. The heat, the suffocation factors. It's like when you hear that fire alarm, yes, it's annoying, but you should be getting out of the building.
So let's talk about your services and because we're doing this class. I mean, I know you have other things that you offer. Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do is we're going to keep the lines open here for everyone to get entered in to win. It's a 2-hour fire extinguisher training class that you're going to get for your business, or if you have a food truck, he also works with those. It also includes getting a new fire extinguisher as well. Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. They work statewide. They're rated with the Better Business Bureau. You can call them direct. Their phone number is 602-833-9117, or call in here at 602-277-5369. Check them out on their website. It's passfireprotection.com. Okay, so let's talk about some of the services that you offer.
Yes, ma'am. So I kind of hit on them a little bit, but we do fire sprinkler inspections, testing and maintenance. We do fire alarm testing, maintenance, and inspections. The kitchen hood systems, the Ansel systems, the fire extinguishers, those are primary business line of business for us. So we like to maintain them. We'll do installations. We like to inspect them to make sure they're going to work properly. And that's when we really get to educate the public, because we're working directly with the business owners. Sometimes when you're just installing the systems, it's during construction, you're with the construction crews, but it's really getting down with the business and the people that are going to end up with these systems in the end. They're the ones that need to know how they operate, what to look for, and then just maintain them like you maintain your car, so that if they're ever needed, they're going to be there to be used.
So let me ask you something. I see this question down here. My eyes just popped open, okay? What about the fire extinguishers at my home? Are they required to be inspected?
So they're not. Unfortunately, there's no jurisdiction over a person's home, but a lot of people do or do not have extinguishers. And if you do, sometimes they just sit there for years and years and years. And like we talked about earlier, those extinguishers have shelf lives, and there's maintenance that needs to be done with them. So if you're not periodically inspecting them, or if you're not, taking them and shaking them up, making sure that powder is loose inside there, like I said, when you leave that baking soda in the refrigerator, after a month or two, it gets solid. Well, those extinguishers, the powder in it can get it solid too. So if it's been there 10, 15 years or so, you probably need to get a new one. because it's not going to do you much good when you go to use it.
Let me ask you something. Let's say somebody's listening to this and going, gosh, I've had one in my house for probably 20 years. I've never used it. How would they go about getting it inspected, or how would they do that? What would you suggest to them?
Yeah, I always usually suggest, you can run down like a Home Depot. I mean, yes, we sell them too, but I know sometimes it's not as convenient, and they're pretty, comparable in cost.
So you sell them? They can buy them, but it's a public buy from you as well?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about that.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we can, you can purchase fire extinguishers from us from the different sizes. There's the small ones you typically see, which is 2.5 pounds, and we have 5 and 10 pound extinguishers. We keep them in stock because, we want to make sure people have them available.
How do they get that from you?
Well, again, they can go to our website or they can give us a call, and we'll be more than glad to get in touch with them and figure out a way.
How do they get to it? Do you ship them, or do they come and pick them up? How does that work?
No, we'd take them to them, make sure, and give them some instruction on it. We'd be more than glad to deliver and talk to them, make sure they understand the use of it and how it is, because we don't want to sell you something you don't know what it's going to do, because then you're not going to like it.
Right.
It's going to give our industry a bad name if people don't know what they're doing or how to use these things.
And this is for residential.
Yeah, for residential.
So you could also buy one if you need one. You never know when you need one. Our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. If you have right now he's talking about the commercial businesses, and also if you own a food truck, you're going to get a 2-hour fire extinguisher training class. It includes getting a free one, but I just learned now that you can buy one if you need one, a new one, or if you don't have one in your house. Everyone should have one. You can get one right off of his website, or you can call them direct. That number is 602-833-9117. The website is passfireprotection.com. Okay, so anybody can actually, that's listening, so it's not, I'm just saying that your website, they can get that fire extinguisher from you.
Yes, if they go to our website, they'll get the information and get in touch with us. We don't have like a direct store on the website.
Right, I was going to say.
Yeah, but they can, we have our email, we have our phone numbers there. They can call us, and like we said, we'll talk to them. We'll get them the right extinguisher for their needs, and we'd love to go over it and show them, the basics. We could take one with us that they could actually use and get familiar with before placing it in their homes, so that they can teach their kids or know how to use it themselves, because you don't want to buy something and not know how to use it, or think that you know how to use it, and then you go to use it
It's
and you
not
really
just
don't.
pulling it, and what did you say? Pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep.
Yes, and people struggle with the pull pin because they hold the extinguisher wrong. They squeeze that pull pin. They can't get it out. They're frustrated. They're nervous, so it makes it even worse. So that's probably the most difficult thing, actually, is pulling the pull pin. After that, it's pretty easy.
Well, I'll tell you something. I wouldn't want to even be in the position of having to pull that pull pin, right?
Yep, absolutely.
You don't want to, but if you do, you want to make sure it works. So if you're a resident and you want one in your home, you could check them out on their website. They can get you one. The numbers, their website is passfireprotection.com. You can also call them. That's 602-833-9117. As you were talking here about now, going back to businesses, commercials, how can Pass Fire Protection make a company money?
Well, what we'd like to do is say, that old saying, what is it, a penny saved is a penny earned. So if we can go through your facility and we can see what you have, what you don't have, we can give you ideas of how to improve services, how to do better maintenance that'll save you money, or, maybe it's just the cost of what you're paying for other companies to do stuff. Maybe you're overpaying. Maybe you have too many companies where now you can use one company. So there's many ways, many consultations that we can go through with you to try to show you where there's cost savings in everything that you're already doing. And that way, if you're saving money, you're making money. And that's how we can make you money for your business through your fire protection system.
Sure. I'll tell you something. And one thing I know for sure, that if your business burns down, you're out of business.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's the first thing you don't want to ever happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what you're there for. You make sure it's like you are it's a protection service. God forbid anything should happen. You want to make sure your employees know what they're doing. You want to make sure your equipment works and that everybody knows exactly what to do. God forbid something happens.
Absolutely. We're there to protect you and your business from the fire, not the fire. We're not a fire protection. We're not going to protect fires. We're going to protect you and your building against these fires.
Now, the number to call them direct is 602-833-9117. It's passfireprotection.com. And we're going to let everyone call throughout the rest of the show. And everyone's getting entered in to win if you have a business on this one or a food truck. It's a 2-hour fire fire extinguisher training class, and it includes getting a fire extinguisher. You could call them or call here for the rest of the show. Our number here, 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. It starts with a consultation with you, and you do that for free.
Absolutely, yes. We're going to go out there because we can't just know what to tell you if we don't know your facility. Like you said, maybe you have extinguishers, maybe you don't, maybe you have certain systems. We don't expect you to know what those are. That's our job to know what they are. So we will come out, we'll evaluate your system, we'll go over everything with you, and then we can go from there and see how we can work together.
Work together and make sure that everybody's safe.
Yes.
And knows what they're doing.
Yep.
Again, we're going to keep our lines open here for everyone to get this entered into win. It's a 2-hour fire extinguisher training class, and it includes getting a new fire extinguisher. Again, if you have a business, if you have a food truck, if you own a home and you want a fire extinguisher and you think yours is too old, you can also get one right through them. It's passfireprotection.com. Call them. It's 602-833-9117 or call in here, 602-277-5369.